that. So we're gonna go ahead and get in. I'm gonna answer Carson's question first, and then we'll get started. Do I enjoy my own voice? Man, it is. I mean, it's like coffee, right? You know, I feel like everyone, maybe for most people, their own voice is a little bit like coffee. At first, you know, it's terrible, and then you have to add some sweetener to it and a bit of dairy. I mean, it makes you stir it in real good. You start to learn to like it with ice. You know, and eventually you can't get enough of it. So that's my answer. God damn it. Okay, we're gonna start from Yumiko's or from Fly's position this time. Let's get into the game. Okay. Hello and welcome to another Warcraft the audio commentary. Today, guys, we're watching game number 3 from the WEC. I don't know where, I don't know, we're not even gonna say it. We're just from WEC. This is a best of 3 between 2 amazing players. The third game in the series. If you haven't seen the first 2, I highly recommend that you check them out. They are on YouTube. Well, they're going to be on YouTube. They're on Twitch. There's lots of options. This is being cast live at twitch.tv/PureB if you want to check it out, or if you want to watch it at YouTube, youtube.com/SirPureB. There you go. All the plugs that I need to do. Let's go ahead and introduce our players. We have someone who speaks for himself, stands for himself, is one of the best orcs ever, is Fly, spawning in as the purple orc in the upper left part of the map. The map is Nomad Isles, of course. And then down in the lower right, we have Yumiko, spawning in as the red human. Yumiko has shown some very interesting strategies in this series so far, and he's done some cool stuff. This game, he's going with a Mountain King first, which is kind of an old school strategy. I don't know if he's going, it's more of an, I should say it's more of an indication of an old school strategy, because I don't know whether, you can't really predict it with just this information here, especially on this particular map, which is a big circle. You know, it's a big circle. You can kind of see that. We have some cool creeps. There's an overlord. You don't see those very often in Warcraft 3 now, do ya? Ha ha, ho ha. Anyway, so Mountain King is really nice if you go like Mass Griffins, for example. So if you do Mass Griffins, you get armor upgrades, you just buy armor scrolls, and you have like this cool focus fire strategy. It's kind of cool. It's kind of a thing that people used to do. People would go like bats and stuff against it, but bats obviously are not very cost efficient. So then Orb of Lightning came into the meta, and then I don't know, all kinds of stuff happened. That was a long time ago. You probably remember it. If you don't, then what? Some people thought it was boring, but I have a feeling we're probably not going to see exactly that in this game, because this game is supposed to be crazy. So I can't wait to see. Got some peasant creeping or militia creeping going on right here over at the mercenary camp. Picks up the Forest Troll Shadow Priest, of course. Very nice unit to have. It's going to be providing a lot of healing, and you don't have water elementals with this to actually provide tanking, so you got to have some form of early game healing, whether that be by Scroll of Regenerations from a shop, which he hasn't bought, or Forest Troll Shadow Priest. Doesn't really matter. All kinds of great options. You just have to have something there. Meanwhile, over here we're going to see Fly is creeping himself just a little bit. This is, of course, your just standard orange creep. You may as well go ahead and grab it. It's easy to creep. Doesn't do a whole lot of damage, and as an orc player, you can kind of tank it pretty efficiently, because one salve is going to get this guy up about 400 HP. One salve will get this guy up about 400 HP. And he's not even going to have to salve the grunt from this, but he can put one salve, obviously, on the Blade Master. It gets pretty good from that. Going to pick up a Claws of Attack +6, a wonderful item to have. There's the Voodoo Lounge. Going to go ahead and get right into the healing positions for all the cool stuff. Going to see a Great Hall. It's going to be getting upgraded probably here in just a second. Here fairly soon, I would expect to see that. Down here we're going to see, there's the salve. Of course, you sold the TP. Selling the TP always lets you buy extra stuff early on. Usually you do it for the circlet, but you don't always have to go for the circlet. Just items are good to have. There's the upgrade going for tier 2. Is the human going for tier 2, or is he going for an early game expansion with this many militia and going for a gold mine? I would just assume that he is going straight for the expansion. It seems like that's what he's going to do. Now we got the Blade Master. He's going to come in here and try to get the last hits on this. Will he manage to steal the XP? It looks like he will pick up level 2 from that. He's going to immediately get bashed, however, and he did take a bit of a hit from the Frost Armor, which means he's going to be a little bit slow and have DPS reduced, but he will still have enough to take down the Forest Troll Shadow Priest. That grunt, however, is going to get surrounded, but he will get popped out by the Blade Master with the Wind Walk, and the Blade Master is going to get surrounded immediately. Very good micro by Yumiko, but also equally good micro by Fly. Both players just trying to go ahead and vie for position here. He's going to not be able to get the last hit on that. He wanted to get the steal, but he wasn't quite fast enough. little bit unfortunate for him. Yumiko, though, picking up 2 claws now, a +9 and a +6, so that's a big drop that the Blade Master missed right there. +9 claws. He would have very much liked to have had that. Enough mana on this Mountain King and almost level 3. He's going to definitely force this Orc player away. If he can snipe a Grunt, that would give him level 3. I believe I didn't quite look to see how much XP he has, but I think, yeah, that would. I believe that would. It would put him right up, I believe, 2 XP over the limit, which would make him pretty happy. And let's go ahead and check out the Orc player base just to see he's still at tier 2, nothing too shenanigan-y. And he's going for the tower first. Arcane Tower is going to allow him to fight any kind of fight here pretty much without too much worry, because he's just going to be able to focus down all the mana from the Blade Master, and the Blade Master then has to be very careful to not get surrounded, because when an Arcane Tower is up, if you get surrounded, which you can very easily be surrounded with a bolt. Will we see a little bit of micro here? Oh, Militia coming in for the surround, going to be able to go ahead and take down the Grunt. That's level 3 on the Mountain King, and he still has plenty of mana with 182 to start, causing a lot of havoc. Let's go ahead and see this happen right now. Militia going to have a little bit of trouble. He's going to do a speed scroll, but it's not going to be enough. He wasn't able to get that Grunt out in time, so that's 2 Grunts down and a speed scroll. That is really not the best. No, it's not the worst thing that he used a speed scroll there, because otherwise he was going to eat a second bolt and get another Grunt surrounded. But it would have been really nice, and he was definitely looking like he was trying to get that one Grunt out, and it was very close. But this has been a lot of very close micros that Yumiko just keeps coming out on top, which means that Fly's early game so far has been pretty abysmal. He's level 2, only has 1 item at this point that he's managed to pick up compared to 2, and he's not higher level, and his opponent's going for any expansion that he can't really do anything about at this point because he's just taking so much early game damage. But he is now at tier 2. He's going to put up a Spirit Lodge. However, he's going to have a little bit of a hard time preventing that from being canceled if Yumiko decides to just walk in there. There's not really much that he can do, and meanwhile his army's over here. It's going to take him a while to get back. He's probably going to want to pick up a circlet here from this merchant if he has the time. I mean, Yumiko is going to run away, which is odd. He could have sniped the lounge. He's got all kinds of options he could have taken there. Just did not take anything, but he did pick up the Circle of Nobility. Also got a Wand of Illusion. He's going to be able to use that for scouting and for faking the bolt, which just has to suck if you're Yumiko, because the Mountain King without the Archmage suffers from some severe mana issues. He's going to sell both those claws. He doesn't really need them on the Mountain King, and he wants to have the Boots of Speed, the Dust, and a Kin. Yumiko just showing how much he really likes his Staff of Teleportation, which is a fantastic item. I mean, we've seen him use it to great effect in every game that he's had it so far, generally with the Archmage, but the Mountain King I can see being a very effective guy as well. You like just TP him to a base to defend it with a big bolt. That can be quite entertaining and also quite impactful, because if you get there with a TP that they're not expecting, they're probably going to have to run, at least burn a speed scroll or something like that. But the Shadow Hunter is out now, and this is where he's going to kind of start making up some ground from where he's just having that rough early game. He got 2 hexes down on 2 footmen, and we're going to see a clarity being popped so he can just go ahead and chase down. He wants to maybe get 1 or 2 more, but the Mountain King might prevent that from happening. Bolt going onto the Shadow Hunter. He's going to have a bit of a bad day for that, and that's going to keep him from losing any more units. But unfortunately, Yumiko here going to accidentally aggro the creeps as he walks by. Not so good. Doesn't really need that for himself. A little bit of extra damage that he wasn't probably wanting to take. Again, we're seeing Yumiko go for the upgrade at the expansion instead of the main base, which is, again, for good reason, because, again, it lets him have Militia here, and it also lets him really afford to put more base defense here and more bases here, which allows this to be a much sturdier defensive location, which is good because this one is already just given its position more defensive than the other. So it kind of is benefiting from that. Fly is over here creeping up. He's going for his own expansion. Again, he knows he needs to have the economy. You can't play against this style of strategy of human who goes for the fast expansion without your own expansion, unless you have like an exceptionally good early game, which, as we saw, Fly did not. And again, we're going to see the Troll Witch Doctor coming out with the Sentry Wards. The Sentry Wards we know are very fantastic. Another footman going down. That one probably looking for some scouting information. He saw what he needed to see, but it did cost him his life. So I mean, that's the life of being a scout a lot of the times. Yumiko picking up a Goblin Shredder and a Zeppelin. I mean, it would appear that he needs wood, and he doesn't want to have a whole bunch of peasants for that. I don't know. Is he going to go ahead and use that? Yes, he will use that to go ahead and prevent dying to the Blade Master. Very nice little pickup there. Literally. Right. Anyway, so with the Spirit Walk out, or the Spirit Walker out, he has Spirit Link, so that gives him a lot of tankiness early on, and he needs that tankiness to deal with the Bolt. The Bolt, the Surround, all that, it makes your units take a lot of focused fire to indirect damage, and of course the Spirit Link does a very good job of combating that, but he's not really out of the woods yet. He is already going for a bat just because I don't know what he's going to do with it, but I think he's probably thinking the same thing I am. Mountain King first. Okay, where's the air units? Having a preemptive bat is not a bad thing in that situation. Again, you know, he might not go for bat. He may not go for Griffin Riders. He may not go for Dragon Hawks. I mean, normally they don't go for Dragon Hawks, but normally it's Griffin Riders. But he probably won't go for Griffin Riders. He might. I mean, he might, because he is upgrading. No, he's not. He's upgrading other stuff like Rifle Caster play, maybe. I don't know what he's going for at this point. I literally have no idea what he's going for. I couldn't even tell you. I have no idea. But we do see the expansion for the Orc player. It's just doing what he's doing. He's Tier 2 Orc. He's going to go for the upgrade for Spirit Walker Adept training. He needs to have that. It's kind of good to have. Town Hall, he's just actually doing a nice job with these farms here. You might not realize just how important having some farms like this is, but if the Orc player gets a moment of free time to come in and kill your Town Hall, with a couple farms here, it becomes a whole lot harder because there's not nearly as much surface area. You can't get a Raider in right there. You can get like one unit here, and that's going to be one unit attacking the Town Hall. He'll have to kill the farms first, and that is a big deal. And that buys the human player a lot of time. So really nice to be doing that. This expansion still has not actually finished building, but both players are just creeping right now. Both players, which is interesting. Fly knows that he can't do anything right now, which is not something he's probably feeling good about, because he's wanting to do some more pressure. He's wanting to do some more stuff, and he's actually also going for the Goblin Shredder because he's going to need probably to get a lot of wood. I mean, if we see what he's doing, he doesn't have a whole lot of guys on wood right now. He's only got a couple peons for it, and really he's going to need to have 5 guys right here on the gold mine. You don't want to have 5 guys on this gold mine, 5 guys on this gold mine, and then 7 guys on wood. That's 17 supply. That's something you should leave humans to do, and that's why humans have to end up going in to the 90 food supply to beat or to combat 80 food supply people. It's very just something, if you can get the shredder, it makes it a whole lot more supply efficient for you, and that's what we're going to even see the human do. This Shadow Hunter just does not even care. He's just saying, I'm going to tank this. I know the human's not really that close. I can go ahead and healing wave myself. It's not a big deal. This Bronze Drake just doing a ridiculous amount of damage. Also picking up a wonderful item, the Red Drake Egg, which is going to be a fantastic summon to have. Tome of Agility. Put it on the Blade Master. I was not sure who was. It looked like he was going to go for the Shadow Hunter there, which was odd. Over here, we're going to maybe see a bit of a clash. This clash would not go well for Yumiko. He would be definitely forced to TP out as he is facing what is a solid tier 2 army from the Orc, which very much in game if he wants it to be, versus something that's just, you know, I got a couple footmen and I got a couple mercenaries. What do you want to do? What do you want me to do? Gonna have to be careful of this Kodo Beast here. Yeah, he's just going to have to TP out, because if he doesn't, he knows this is a very fast army. It's going to get ensnares off. It's going to get eats off. It's going to get hexes off, all that good stuff. It's just going to kill it. It's not going to be something that he wants to see happen, which basically means that Fly is going to get a little bit more experience, a big creep right here, which is a red creep. He's going to get a fantastic item. Does he have slots for it? He doesn't, but he can go ahead and pop that Lesser Clarity Potion here in just a second. He wants to probably wait as long as he can, just because, yeah, you can see he's going to take some damage on the Shadow Hunter from this guy. He's got just a crazy attack. Kind of funny. Ankh of Reincarnation, I don't know who to put that on. I would probably summon the Wand of Illusions and then put it on the Blade Master, because it's a really nice Blade Master item. But you might go ahead and stick it on the Shadow Hunter. Who knows? It's got it on the Shadow. It's not a bad choice. The Shadow Hunter is a little bit squishier, a little bit more susceptible to the big nuke damage. Gonna see the Archmage coming out as a second hero. Not a bad choice, because you do need the mana, like I was talking about earlier. And again, if we're gonna see that same Rifle Caster strategy out of Yumiko that we've been seeing every other game so far, yeah, we sure are. This is actually pretty nice, because the Mountain King is going to do a lot of the big brunt, heavy, thunderclap, bolt kind of damage if you have a high enough level Archmage to support it with the mana cost. He can't really have that right now, that's why it's spec'd for Bash. But if it gets later in the game, he can actually respec him and just make him really, really strong once he's 5 or 6 and the Archmage is 2 or 3. So that we might see happen. It's just one of those things, it gives you more options, and it's really nice to see that. So that's one of the good reasons of having that. It's a really nice strategy. It's again interesting too. Yumiko is just the first game we saw Yumiko just go straight for a unitless expansion, which was absolutely hilarious. Worked out better than I thought, but he's, you know, still he didn't quite do anything too amazing there. In the second game, we saw Yumiko go for the more standard play, which, you know, did win the game, but it was a close game, and again, that map was just full of choke points, left, right, and center, and Yumiko could really abuse that. He really did abuse that, and he still kind of came close. In this game, it looks like Yumiko's really upped the ante and said, you know what, balls to it, we're going full Mountain King, and that could be what he needs to really pull this one home. I have no idea who's going to win this game. If I didn't know, I would say that Fly probably has the advantage because it is big open areas, as we can see. But this engagement's going to go on. This is not a position that the Orc wants to be fighting from. He's got creeps behind him. He's got the towers and the human player right here. But the human player does have a smaller army right now. It's at 71 supply, but it's not all here. As you can see, a big army coming there with Militia and the Paladin coming up just to go ahead and try to get into this engagement. So the Orc kind of almost wants to fight this until the rest of that human army catches up, and then he's probably want to really get out of here because these creeps are doing a bit of damage. I mean, Fly's doing a fantastic job microing here, but indeed he is going to have to run. And we actually, this is his Drake, the red Drake for Fly. He summoned that from that creep he got earlier, and that is going to do a lot. But actually, the Paladin has ended up surrounded. He's level 1, so he doesn't have any way out of that. There's not a staff on these two heroes to my knowledge, or at least not a sanctuary staff, just the staff of teleportation on the Mountain King. He's still level 4 as well. He needs to get level 5 really bad, because once he gets level 3 bolt, shabam, he can really start hurting things real bad. But Fly, now he's going to try to probably take advantage and maybe take down a couple production buildings. He can do that again. This is more of a choke pointy position, as you can see, because of these big rocks here in the trees. So he has to be a little bit careful. He doesn't want to be fighting the human if the human comes right around here, unless he's kind of positioned over here if he can do that, but that's going to be difficult. Running into this is just all around not his goal. He doesn't really want that. He just wants to deal damage here. He's not going to be able to get into a position where he can legitimately fight. So he's probably going to have to TP out unless Yumiko doesn't have any army. I don't know where Yumiko's army is. Yeah, I was wrong. Yumiko is going to be forced to TP with a wonderful trapping with the ensnare and a nice bit of damage right off onto that Archmage. I don't know what happened to Yumiko's army. I guess it was more militia than what I realized, but yeah. It's not a big deal for Yumiko. It's only 350 gold because of the reason that's not a big deal is because he has that second expansion and it's got some towers, and that's going to be fairly easy to defend. The Archmage going to go down. Yumiko definitely overextending right there. The Mountain King also in a bad position. He's getting hexed. Is he going to go down? He has the Potion of Divinity on him right there, with 25 seconds of invulnerability. He's going to get invisibled. Doesn't really matter. He got dispelled immediately by the Spirit Walker. But did he get? Yeah, he did. But that was enough to get him out of there. He was fine. So Mortar teams are going to try to do their best to keep this army at bay. The army is actually going to end up retreating. He definitely can't attack or assault this choke point. This choke point is absolutely radical. As you can see, this is it's very small. It looks a little open, but the human literally can just stand right here, and that choke point would be ridiculous. Compared to the one down here, it's not as good. I don't know. Yumiko is doing some very interesting stuff. That's all I can say. I don't know. He's taking some hits. Fly going for the third expansion himself, saying, I got to keep up in economy. It's very important to stay up in an economy. And if we look at the wood at this point, 1,500 wood. Yumiko sitting at 2,100 wood. Those shredders just absolutely paying for themselves. And at this point in the game, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, actually, to be using these things as combat units. Now, I will say, you have to be a little bit careful with those guys because of the simple fact that they're mechanical, so you can't heal them. But that's not, that's one of those things. They're immune to magic, so that's kind of something you can use to your advantage, sort of. They're really nice to stick onto demolishers because they're kind of fast and they have a very high attack range. But these towers are taking the brunt of this damage. But these towers are also, not only are they doing a good bit of defensive work, they're also creating a good choke point. So if when those towers go down, as they're about to do, Yumiko is going to be forced to retreat just a little bit. But he does have another choke point right here, so he's created one choke point followed by a second choke point, playing really smart here, playing really strategical. These guard towers, even though they're not finished, they're creating a choke point, so they're doing a good job. This is, in fact, what we're seeing. Yumiko this is his last choke point, though. If he loses the fight at this point, he has to retreat even further back, then he is going to lose the base, and that's what it looks like we're going to see happen. He needs to try to, I don't know what he needs to do. He doesn't have that Archmage out. He needs that for mana regeneration. He's got to make sure he doesn't lose mortar teams. Mortar teams right now are the backing of this army. We're going to see the Paladin trying to get this. He wants to really focus for XP because he needs level 2 on the Paladin. He needs level 3 on the Archmage. Important skills to have. That Archmage just got 284 damage, critical strike, straight dead, level 3 critical strike, showing its worth on the Blade Master. Absolutely strong skill. Critical strike is very strong. I can't believe the Blade Master just 284 damage. It's half of the Archmage's life in one slash. This is going to be a difficult challenge for Yumiko. He's going to have to be very careful to not overextend, because once that Blade Master hits this critical point, I mean, it has a Claws of Attack +6 and 2 circlets. It can absolutely go pick up better items, more survivability items. It's doing enough damage at this point. He's a beast. He's going to have to be very careful. If Yumiko ends up overextending, like one more time like that, he's feeding so much XP. I mean, look at the hero levels. Halfway through level 5 on the Blade Master, what? 13 experience, 14 experience away from level 5 on the Shadow Hunter, compared to level 5 on the Mountain King and level 1 on the Paladin. I mean, he's so far behind. He is so far behind right now. Yumiko is going for the caster advantage, I guess is what he's doing. I mean, he's going for Sorceress Master Trainer. He's going to have the ability to cast Polymorph. Part of why he's doing this, in my opinion, is maybe due to the fact that, now, first of all, maybe preface, I was saying the caster, level 3 casters are really strong. They have really nice, Inner Fire is fantastic. Inner Fire gives you a ton of armor. It makes your army a lot more tanky. It's sort of comparable to Spirit Link in terms of just how tanky it makes your army. And Polymorph, obviously really good. You can polymorph the Coda Beast to get rid of the aura. There's some really nice things you can do with it, but I think it's mainly for just having more mana, because he's not being able to keep this Archmage alive. So, because as you get to tier 3 and whatever, you get more mana, and you get more mana regeneration, you get more life. I think you get a little bit of move speed. So all those things are going to be really helpful again, about keeping himself in good positions, and versus you know, longer, giving him more standing power, more longer, whatever it's called. Here comes Fly. Once again, he's coming in from the bottom because he can't really take that choke point right here. And again, these buildings are going to kind of form a choke point. If this goes down before Sorceress Master Training finishes, that's going to really be unfortunate. And it looks like it will, oh, so close to finishing that. He wasn't quite able to get to cancel off either, it looked. But that's okay. We're going to go ahead and see this happening. These demolishers in the back are just causing the ground to be on fire. Absolutely crazy how much damage they're going to be doing. Look at that, just crazy amounts of damage. The Blade Master takes lots of damage as well. The Paladin, though, he's taking some hits on that. He's going to try to force him to run away. He's going to cast an invisibility on him. He's got the Spirit Link stolen, but that's not going to be quite enough to keep him alive. This position, there are Knights out, actually. Knights are going to be a really good transition from Yumiko. Knights can actually tank these fights. They can deal with the high damage from the Blade Masters. They have high armor. As you can see, 7 armor, 985 life. They're going to be able to do a whole lot of damage as well. And we're going to see, once again, another invisibility cast on that Paladin. As that Blade Master has shown several times, he just wants to kill the Paladin, which is a good choice. If you can keep the Paladin from hitting level 2, that's a big deal. But another thing is, he needs to be getting, he's not getting XP. He's not getting enough kills here, and we're going to see Fly trying to micro out and TP with all these low HP Raiders, only losing 1 right there at the end. Holy crap. I mean, this is a big deal. Not only is it a big deal to save your units, but this is a big deal. That Paladin is still level 1 despite all of that fighting. And he's level 1. I mean, even if you're not paying that close attention, he's level 1. Do you know what that means? That means Fly is not losing units, and Yumiko clearly is. So somehow Yumiko's still in the game. I don't know. I mean, you can see a lot more experience on the Blade Master. Level 5 on the Shadow Hunter. It may not look as much because going from here to there doesn't look as impressive, but at level 5, that's a lot, because 2000 is your max XP for your getting level 6, which is cool. It's a big deal. Yumiko, he knows that he needs to have more economy, because this is going to be a long one from the way he's playing. He's saying, I've got, you know, I keep fighting in my choke points, and what I have to do is I gotta keep having economy. This is also not only is this an interesting spot, because first of all, there's a Dark Wizard back there that he didn't notice. I don't know why it was back there, but did he might have polymorphed it. No, he doesn't have polymorph. I have no idea what he was doing back there. It's like, surprise! I don't know. Picks up a Talisman of the Wild, which is going to allow him to summon some Furbolgs, which is kind of nice. Has the Mortar Team. He's going to be able to use Flare here. The Flares are really nice because your opponent doesn't even know you're casting them, because they have such a big range if they don't immediately see the center of it. So this is just kind of seeing it. Taurens are coming out. Taurens. I repeat, we have Taurens on the field. Now, if these are Taurens, I'm assuming they probably have their Earth Stompy Shaky upgrade, whatever it's called, Fissure Totem or something, which gives them massive amounts of AoE damage, which is amazingly good against not only casters and stuff, because they're really low HP squishy units, but actually really good against Knights. And the reason that they're so nice is because of the fact that Knights, any kind of big heavy melee, just gets trampled, gets trounced on by that slam, because it just does a huge amount of AoE damage, and it's just awesome. So that's what happened there. Apparently, I'm reading that the reason that this guy was Hex, I didn't see it, but a Spellbreaker, he cast Hex on one of the units, and the Spellbreaker stole the spell and flipped it back onto him. So there you go. Yumiko over here is going to have that Arcane Tower, or Arcane Vault, immediately go down. He's not quite in a good position. He might take some heavy damage on the castle. Losing the castle at this point is not a huge deal because he doesn't have any gold, but it is a big deal because that's his castle tech. He doesn't want to lose that. You know, Fly still doesn't want to take this choke point. This choke point is still kind of a little too intense for him, and he's going to back out, especially now that he's starting to get Torn himself. Torn, the more big, heavy melee units the Orc has, the less he wants to fight in a choke point situation. I will say Torn are better than the other stuff in a choke point because of the fact that they do have that nice AoE, but it's kind of giving your opponent a lot of option to decide just what gets slammed on, and that's not necessarily what you want. The Demolisher's coming into position here. Yumiko, he's got Blizzard skilled, and he's going to do his best to kill these Demolishers with Blizzard. That's kind of what he has to do. The Blizzard will reach them. The problem is that it's going to be hard for him to actually do that during a battle because it's a squishy target with 525 life, 4 armor, and that Blade Master can basically two-shot it. I mean, literally can two-shot it. If he gets 2 crits on it, it's dead. So it's a very easy target to kind of force back. And so we're gonna see these towers. They're again. You can see how he's creating choke points with them. So no matter what angle that he gets attacked from, he can kind of deal with it. That Witch Doctor may be slightly overextending just a little bit. He's going to go down. I don't know if the tower got the last hit. If the tower gets last hit naturally, then he doesn't get experience for it. But very close to level 3 on that Paladin now. Creeping was a big deal. Having level 3 on the Paladin means a much stronger heal. Oh, sorry. And I should turn off the sound for that. Sorry. But that means it's a much... Well, actually, for what that was a follow, so that's kind of cool. But anyway, to get back to the game, sorry. A level 3 Paladin's level 2 Holy Light, which means much more tankiness and much needed tankiness against this Orc army with that high level Blade Master. With the Ensnare right there on the Mortar team, he's going to go ahead and try to take it down with the Demolishers. We're seeing Mortar versus Demolisher here. A lot of micro going on. Just kind of seeing what's going to happen here. It looks to me like the Mortar team should be able to win this, and they can actually go ahead, if he keeps those guys being used correctly. They have Inner Fire, which means that they have a ton of armor, 5 armor, plus 7 damage. Kind of nice, and they can kind of win that fight. They aren't getting repaired like Fly's Demolishers are, but they are getting healed with Holy Light, and probably even getting Priest healed. So all kinds of cool stuff. The Raiders are very, very ballsy, because if those Raiders just get bolted, that's half their life. But we're going to see that bolt going off, saved for the Blade Master. The Blade Master does do a lot of damage, 268 damage critical strike right there. The Mountain King taking the brunt of the damage right now as well. He's going to be forced to pop that Potion Blast from Vulnerability. Militia have come in from the side on the left. They're trying to go ahead and form some more kind of wall to prevent these Raiders from getting in behind. We do have healing words coming out from the Witch Doctors at Master rank. Oh, this is crazy. Fire damage. We have all kinds of high-level spells here. Here comes the Stasis Trap. It might go off if Yumiko doesn't kill it. Is he focusing? He's focusing it down with the Mountain King, going to kill it just as he gets primed. Mountain King picking up level 6, so we can see an avatar, and Fly is going to be forced to retreat from this position. He was doing a lot of damage. Those guys in the back with the Demolishers doing a lot of damage as well, but at the end of the day, he was fighting in 3 towers range with Militia at the side, supporting the human army, and that was just not a great position for Fly to be taking. And it may have cost him his kind of, I would say his, not, I wouldn't go as far as to say his lead, but it would definitely cost him his memento in this game. He's got a Voodoo Lounge over here. That's not going to really help him at this point. I don't know if that's going to live to the next engagement. It might. Yumiko's wanting to take this time to go ahead and push his advantage. He says, I have momentum now. I have map control now. Let's see if I can get into a good choke point before you can actually adequately move out into the open spot. If Fly was sitting right here, Yumiko wouldn't be able to just run in right now. But because he's not, there's a choke point he can go ahead and abuse right here. And we're going to see Fly saying, I have to run away. This is a position that Fly kind of wants to have. But then, you know, it's not that important. And not only is it not that important to Fly Yumiko, it's not even that important to Yumiko. Yumiko says, I have more important stuff I could be doing. I could be creeping up to level 5 on my Archmage or my Paladin. If he gets level 5 on the Paladin, then the Paladin becomes pretty much immortal. The Mountain King becomes pretty much immortal. Not completely, but, you know, basically having 5-3 on Mountain King and Paladin makes it really difficult to begin with. So anything after that just makes it even harder. But the Archmage could also use some XP because... And also, you could really just use a Circlet at this point. At 525 HP is not a lot of HP against this Blade Master. So a Circlet or a Periapt of Vitality, either thing, both things he can buy from a shop might be worth investing in, especially as if he sits around 80 food and just banks up gold. Wouldn't be the worst thing. I don't know. He might want to just go straight to the 90 or 100 food and try to push that instead. I'm not really sure what the better situation is there. Kind of surprised he didn't immediately go for this raider, but that raider will go down. There's absolutely no chance that that's going to live. Just way out of position there. I don't know what he was trying to do. A peon also going down. Is he trying to just lose supply? He might just be trying to lose supply, but if he's doing that, he needs to probably be running it into this red camp over here because he doesn't really need to be feeding XP to his opponent. So I'm not really sure what to tell you about that. That's kind of crazy. Now you can go ahead and see Fly sitting at 86 supply. He's got a nice amount, and Yumiko sitting at 79. This means Fly needs to fight. I don't know if Yumiko realizes this, but this is a position Fly needs to fight. However, this is not a good position whatsoever for Fly. He's got his army backwards. Those demolishers are not the tanks. That's not how he wants it. He's trying to maneuver things into a better spot. He's going to speed scroll. Where is the Blade Master as well? That is the most important question. I don't see the Blade Master anywhere in this fight. This could go bad. We're seeing a flare, which is going to let him know there's in fact no Blade Master here. It's something I think he was suspecting, because why is Fly taking this sort of a runaway? This is crazy. That Shadow Hunter is in fact surrounded, sort of. He's getting out of it, but he's right back in this round. Oh man, look at that fire though, doing lots of damage. A healing scroll is going to go off to kind of prevent that. Will he be able to break it? Here comes the Blade Master. He's going to maybe pop over and give the potion of lesser invulnerability to the Shadow Hunter. He does. The Blade Master popping out says, okay, let's take this fight. And this fight now actually not in the worst position for Fly. He's done a good job kind of repositioning and microing this as Yumiko is focusing on that Shadow Hunter so hard. Will this possibly be looks like Yumiko is going to actually have to back out of this. I don't know what he's doing. He's trying to maybe use the choke point back here, but again, he's getting railed right now. He needs to get out of here. That Mountain King very low on life. There you go. There's the expand or the TP. Wow, what on earth? I mean, the Fly just showed a beautiful amount of micro there. He was in a terrible position, running away for his life, and he turned it around and just started owning. I don't know. I don't know what to say. Now he's at 80 food, which is a pretty good spot to be at because he's only got one gold mine mining. He does not want to be above 80 food right now unless he's fighting. That's a rule that you have to keep. Your economy will suffer so much if you go into high upkeep and you only have one base mining. Yumiko, though, sitting at 60 food supply or 62 supply. That's crazy bad. The Mountain King is level 6. The Paladin's getting closer to level 4, and the Archmage is level 4, but he's versus level 5, almost level 6 on the Shadow Hunter, and level 6 on the Blade Master. So it's not going to be too much longer before we maybe see a big bad Voodoo, which gives all kinds of invulnerability to your units, which would be a huge deal in these positions. Because that Shadow Hunter can just sit in the back, and as long as he's kept sufficiently away from that Mountain King, which you can do using, you know, better micro, just blocking the units and using Ensnare and using the Blade Master to focus it down, you can get a really nice big bad Voodoo in this situation. Because the only thing that's going to stop him in this whole army composition, the only thing that's going to stop him is the bolt. That's it. So big bad Voodoo is a really big bad scary thing for the human player. He's gonna have to be really kind of careful to not feed any more XP if he can help it, because he doesn't want to feed that to level 6. He really doesn't. That's gonna make it a lot of those positions. Basically, big bad Voodoo means, oh, we have a choke point, well, I'm gonna force you out of the choke point. That's literally what it means, and we've seen how important the choke point is for the human player, so now we immediately know how important big bad Voodoo is to not let them have it. That Voodoo Lounge, in fact, can get taken down. Another expansion for Fly coming up here at the top. Kind of interesting to see him taking that one instead of this one, I think. I would have. It's interesting because Fly, I mean, Yumiko has to camp out around here. He has to. But I guess at the same time, if Fly wants to fight, and he kind of does, then if he's going to be right here, you know, or right through here, that's kind of defending his expansion. If he loses a fight, though, up here, he's going to lose that expansion. So that is literally what's going to happen. I mean, that's just a thing. Whereas if it was over here, he could lose the fight, and then, you know, he could recoup and regenerate and get back to his expansion to defend it. So it's an interesting move. It's definitely very brave of him to take this one. It means he's very confident that he's going to win the fights. And so far, he's been doing that. So, I don't know. Fly's still sitting at 80 food. Yumiko sitting at 66. Still hasn't recovered. You can see he's not getting a whole lot of gold. It's just slow. One gold mine base play here. And it's really good. It's really it's a strong position for Fly. Absolutely. And again, if we look at the hero levels and look at the items, he's got a healing scroll on both of these guys. He's got a potion of lesser invulnerability on the Blade Master. He's going to go ahead and pop down a stasis trap, which is really nice. That means that 2 stasis traps, and you got to be careful to space these things out, because if they're too close to each other, when one goes off, it'll immediately trigger the other, and just like it'll just kill it. So you don't really want that. You got to make sure those are kind of positioned out. But those are like I think it's like a 5 or 7 second stun on regular units, and then like a 2 or 3 second stun on probably a 2 second stun on heroes. A big AoE stun, that is something that Yumiko cannot push into now. So Yumiko, this is going to be again the mortar team versus demolisher fighting, and again I think the mortar team's kind of come out ahead on that. I mean, with the good play with the raiders, it's kind of nice. Did he just steal this? Yumiko just stole it. Okay, that's cool. With the spellbreakers, that's one way to do things. And now you can go ahead and try to kill the raider with the bolt. Slightly mistimed that, maybe, I don't know. He's trying to kill it. If he gets one more bolt off, it would kill it, but good microbite fly just to go ahead and get the healing wave, prevent that from happening. Clarity on the Shadowhunter has to make sure that he doesn't get hit for a little while. Picking up the 2 clarities from this Voodoo Lounge. It's been rebuilt right now by Fly. This is an expansion that's finally gone up. It's starting to begin to run, and Fly is going to back out just a little bit, because he knows he's going to lose this mortar team versus demolisher fight. It's just something that's going to go in Yumiko's range. He's got way too many ways to keep these mortar teams alive, and he doesn't have to. It's for free. It's just for mana, and he has Brilliant Sword, so mana basically is free compared to having to repair these guys. One with peons, which can die, and also give experience, and 2 that cost resources, which Fly doesn't have a whole lot of. He's sitting at 89 food. He's just kind of gone up a little bit. Yumiko sitting at 78. So we're going to see another big fight here. This big fight, could decide it if it goes really bad for either player, because if either player loses their big army here, they're not going to be able to rebuild. So if Yumiko takes another fight like he took last time, he's going to be 20-30 supply down for the rest of the game, because there's no way he's not going to lose this if he loses the fight that's coming up. And this is all he has. Now Yumiko might consider trying to sneak something down there, but he just doesn't have the spare resources to do that at this point. So he's just trying to do what he can. Yumiko stealing one of these stasis traps, kind of nice. This has not been stolen. Will he go ahead and steal it? He's just going to kill it. In fact, you can see the flare kind of up there at the tail end of it. Gonna see the Spirit Walker go ahead and dispel that. So kind of nice to see some really cool micro here with these late game abilities, just stuff you normally don't see, which is kind of fun to watch. And again, he has to fight in the choke point. He knows he has to fight in the choke point. Gives himself charges in, gives himself room to back up and keep the knights in the front. Gonna go ahead and do that. The Shredder is fighting. The Mountain King is level 6. Here comes a Blade Storm onto the Archmage. He might be forced to pop the potion of lesson of invulnerability. He does do that, and he's gonna be forced to kind of run back. The Paladin also taking some hits here. The Flying Machine, Blade Master taking some hits as well, but he still has his healing scroll as well as potion of lesser invulnerability, and the Shadowhunter can easily go ahead and cast healing wave on him. We do have level 6 now on the Shadowhunter, so a big bad voodoo could be imminent if he has the mana for it. I don't think he does though, so he's not going to be able to use it in this fight. Having the Hex on the Archmage, very important. The Avatar has been cast on the Mountain King. He is going to be able to kill the Blade Master. Well, I don't even know how that happened, but he did. And this is really going a lot better for Yumiko than I was expecting it to. Yumiko just absolutely demolishing this fight right now. Look at these blizzards. This is one of the worst things. Fly can't get out of this fight at this point. He's lost his Blade Master. He can't afford to just back out. He will lose his only expansion. Well, he's got this one, but that one is going to go down probably pretty quickly as well after this, because look at this. This is a fight that's gone really, really well for Fly. Or Yumiko, Fly can maybe turn this around. He can maybe do something, but I doubt it at this point. Look at this. Absolutely crazy. Those healing waves just going non-stop on these Tauren Chieftains or Tauren Warriors. But they're not going to be, it's not going to be enough. Look at this. He's just getting destroyed. A speed scroll going off for him, but he's got nothing. There's nothing he can do. There are Spirit Walkers at Master, so they're reviving the Torrent. Again, something you don't see often. That could be the ace for Fly, but he still can't handle this fight. Just look at this. Yumiko's microed this way too well. He's just moved all of his low HP stuff back, and even though he doesn't have any kind of big kills, he does still have the Paladin, who can still be healing things individually, and he still has level 4 on the Archmage, so he can still have the Brilliant Sword. He can still keep healing up his army for free. And this is it. This is going to be the Fly's expansion going down. He's still going to have another about 4,000 gold in this gold mine to mine from, but he's at 50 food. He's going to have to try to stay in not upkeep or in no upkeep for as long as he can, but I guess he's decided he can't afford that because he's saying screw it. He's going straight into it. Yumiko sitting at 67 food. I can kind of see the reasoning. He wants to defend this if he can. This needs to be defended. The Blade Master should be popping up here pretty soon. It went down so early in that fight. And, you know, to be fair, if Fly had left that fight after the Blade Master went down, he would have lost this expansion. And then we would have seen that same fight that just happened here. And he would have lost this expansion because that Blade Master still would not be out yet. So Fly showing his expertise, just taking the fight, just staying in it, just doing his best to not lose that fight too badly. And he lost it about 17-20 supply down. But if he can just kind of come back, he gets another shot. Will he come back? I don't know. There's 6,500 gold in this gold mine. This is the point now where Yumiko gets to sit back and say, well, I have more gold on the map now. So what are you going to do? We saw how well the last fight went, but keep in mind that just one fight ago, Fly won convincingly. And then the last fight, Yumiko won convincingly. There's not been a lot of difference. It's just that Yumiko played this one a little bit better. He got the Blade Master immediately, just took it right down. Which, you know, that was a little bit sloppy, I think, from Fly, because he did have, I mean, I don't know. He had so many ways to keep that alive. I don't know. The Mountain King just showing its worth, really, I guess you can say. Yeah, because you see, he still had the Scroll of Healing, he had the Potion of Lesser Invulnerability, but he must have been bolted and maybe bashed a couple times. Like I said, I didn't quite catch it. I wasn't expecting it to die with all those survivability items. Down here, we're going to see Yumiko with the Zeppelin. He just comes down and says, I'm going to creep this. Oh, that might be why he didn't suicide his units over here, because he couldn't get them. Earlier, I said you could suicide units up there. It would make sense. I was wrong, but he could have done it here. Look, there's still creeps. There's still creeps. There are also creeps up here. I think at that time, at least somewhere. So you know, something, whatever. Look, I wasn't completely wrong. I was just totally wrong, right? Words. Anyway, so this he needs to kind of make sure he's not. Well, I guess he doesn't care at this point. Ice Shard. He's going to be able to summon an Ice Revenant, which is really strong. I want to say it has Thunderclap. I believe it has Thunderclap and Blizzard. Those are really good. That's going to make this. Those are really good. Not only those are really good, but those are the kind of spells that Yumiko's already using. Those are the kind of spells that fit so well into Yumiko's army against doing. That item could be game winning. That's a massive item. That's an insane. That is an absolutely insane item to have. Wow. About to level 7 on the Mountain King as well, which means probably level 3 Bash. He might pick up Thunderclap because the Archmage is level 5 now with level 2 Brilliant Sword, so he might pick up Thunderclap, but I would assume he's going to go to level 3 Bash because Bash is absolutely fantastic against that Blade Master if you can get the nice hits. And again, 6-5, the Paladin's 5, the Archmage is 5. These heroes are pretty much immortal at this point. Even though the Blade Master has crazy high crit damage, killing those heroes is going to be so difficult. He doesn't even have staffs, which is probably the craziest thing to me. I feel like Yumiko, instead of going into upkeep, he should just buy a couple of staffs at this point. You know, he's got all these big HP units. Staffs would be so nice to see from him. Just ridiculously nice. I don't know what he's thinking not having staffs. Please buy a staff. No, he's buying towers. Why won't you buy a staff? I don't know. Tell me I'm wrong, internet. Tell me he shouldn't have a staff. Why doesn't he have a staff? I don't get it. I don't understand. I mean, he's much better than me. I will give him that. But why are you not using a staff? Why is he not having a staff? I'm not going to ever be able to get over that. Just think of how many units he could have saved, how much gold he could have saved with a staff. I mean, I understand some of these items are very important, you know, like the Potion of Lesser Invulnerability. I can see why the towers are important, you know, it gives you invisibility, reveal, and all that good stuff, but buy a staff. You've got knights. He should have bought a staff when he had knights. Really, when you went 3 heroes, you should have bought a staff. When the Blade Master was critting for 284 damage, you should have had a staff. I know staffs aren't... Okay, I'll tell you, I know probably why he's not got a staff. Probably because ensnare, if you ensnare a unit, you can't staff it while it's ensnared. That's probably why he doesn't have a staff, because you can micro against it. But if Fly messes up, which, you know, in these big fights, it can happen, and it does happen, then a staff would be really nice to have. I'm just saying, but maybe it's not worth the money in Yumiko's mind. Fair enough. There is justification. I will say there's justification. Nobody seems to give a crap about this gold mine. Nobody does. I guess because it's such a difficult gold mine to defend. For Yumiko, there's no choke points. This is so open. This is not the kind of position that Yumiko wants. And for Fly, you know, it's so close to Yumiko's base, I guess. I have no idea. I think Fly should take it. I think Fly should take it. But who knows? What do I know? So he's going to use the Zeppelin this time just to kind of be like some kind of out for his units if they get into a bad spot. Again, they suffer from the same kind of issue with Ensnare. You can't pick them up. But the fight going underway right now, this Raider line is getting Blizzard, but here comes the Ice Revenant getting summoned. He's taking the brunt of that Blade Storm. It's not really a big deal because he Thunderclaps. He's just going to kind of move back. Will he get Holy Lighted? Can he get Holy Lighted? I don't think he can. I think you have to Death Coil that guy because I believe he's undead. I could be wrong. He's going to kind of get microed away just a little bit. He's going to go down. That's a good kill. This fight absolutely going crazy. The Mountain King has gone into Avatar Blade Storm, or I'm sorry, Blizzard out here. There you go. Level 7 been picked up by the Mountain King. He's saying, what's up? Divine Shield on the Paladin, just kind of providing some blockage for the rest of his units here. This is a great fight so far for Fly, but is it going to be enough? Because Yumiko still has all this stuff in the back just raining down hell on these guys. Yumiko, he's had to keep retreating, but that's okay. He's human. That's what he wants to do. That's kind of part of his whole strategy. Retreat, slowly wear down the Orc army. He's going for the kills on those Raiders. If he just has a bolt, he doesn't quite have enough mana, but he's going to get it from the Brilliant Sword, if I could speak. Oh, here comes this big stun on those units right there. And we're going to see a nice Holy Light keeping some more of these guys alive. This could be staff, just a thought. He doesn't need a staff, but whatever. Yeah, and the Blizzard and the Bolt going to be forcing these units to run away. That was not a good fight for Fly. I mean, it was a good. I mean, I think Fly did well, but I think it was a bad position to be fighting. Again, those choke points. Those choke points, man, those choke points are killing Fly, and I don't think he's really had it. The other issue is, even though he has a high level Shadow Hunter, he just doesn't have enough mana for the big bad voodoo. He has to be winning the fight to be able to cast that. So I don't know. He needs more gold. He needs more items. If he had more clarities and max mana and all that, then he could afford to cast it. Otherwise, he's having some issues. Yumiko just saying, I'm going to be really aggressive right here. Is he going to even be willing to fight in this open area? It looks like he's kind of willing to do so, but he only wants to kind of, sort of do it. Doesn't want to commit too much here. Again, you have to be kind of wary of the open area. Is the Bolt going to one-shot the Spirit Walker still in ethereal form? Not really a unit you want in ethereal form against high level Bolt. It just does so much nuke damage. Adding 66% to it is not a good idea. Brings it up to like, I don't know, ridiculous number, 700 damage or something. Because it doesn't have the hero armor on it to reduce the damage like that. The good way. Anyway, this Blade Master still going for the crits. He's going to finally get himself well into these casters, something he's not been able to do so far in the game. But Yumiko is just going to defend those casters once again and force the Blade Master right back out. The Archmage in a little bit of a scary position, but again, Fly's done a fantastic job keeping these things alive. We actually are seeing some polymorph on these Storms. They're in the back. They're not doing anything. That is a big deal as well. And in fact, it looks like Fly's going to call a good game. Wow. What a game. I mean, I don't know. Once the Spirit Walkers were gone, he couldn't really fight with the slow on him. There was nothing he could do, so he needed the Spirit Walkers for to dispel the Spirit Link and all of that good, wonderful stuff that kept him in those long fights. Didn't have it. Didn't last. Lost the fight. That was game number 3 from WEC, Yumiko versus Fly. A fantastic game, a fantastic series. I hope you guys watched all of them. I hope you enjoyed them. I certainly did. This has been PureB on twitch.tv/PureB. Yeah, twitch.tv/PureB. You can check me out on youtube.com/SirPureB. Shout out to Carson for recommending the series. Shout out to Manchester for sending me a ton of replays that we're going to be going through. Shout out to Bidu for, being awesome. And shout out to everyone else who decided to watch. I love all of you. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.